1 Thessalonians was likely Paul's earliest letter, written shortly after the first church community was formed in Thessalonica. The Christians there were persecuted for defying Caesar and declaring Jesus as king. Paul wrote this letter to reconnect with the Christians there after having to flee. Timothy had reported that the church was flourishing despite their persecution. Paul opens the letter by thanking the Thessalonians for their faith and reminding them of their conversion and of the time he spent with them. Paul emphasizes that the essence of Christian leadership is not about power, but relationships and service. Just as Jesus was persecuted, Paul is now persecuted by his fellow Jews, and he has this in common with the Thessalonians, who face hostility from their Greek neighbors. This brings comfort to Paul, because their suffering means they're participating in the story of Jesus. Paul implores them to remain committed to holiness. He explains that following Jesus' teachings on sex and marriage looks vastly different than the culture surrounding them that dishonors and destroys. He encourages them to be known as reliable, hard workers, so they have the resources to be generous to those in need. The Thessalonians had raised questions about the future return of Jesus, and Paul responds by explaining that nothing can separate them from Christ's love, not even death, like the martyrdom they were facing. Christians who have died will rise to meet Jesus when he returns, and the hope we have in his return should motivate us to live a life of faithfulness, as if that future day is already here. The book of 1 Thessalonians reminds us that following Jesus is countercultural. It's full of holiness, love, and a future hope. So when we meet hostility, our response should always be love.
If this reflection helped you, please consider subscribing for more peace, love, and strength in your life.